So I haven't been on a stage in front of real human beings playing a show in person in a year and a half. And we're getting ready to go out on the road with Noah Guthrie and Good Trouble. I'm super excited about it. We actually just finished our first rehearsal, and I think the shows are going to be really good. However, listening back to the playback, I was really uninspired by my sound, specifically my bass tone. I'm not exactly sure why, but I know that it's not quite right. So today, I'm going to try and find my bass sound for this upcoming tour. And I figured if you want, you can hang out with me. We're going to talk about some of the decisions I'm making, some of the things that have been helpful to me in the past, some things that I'm learning now we can learn together. So in this video, we're going to talk about strings, we're going to talk about pedals, we're going to talk about instruments, we're going to talk about settings, gain staging, a little bit of everything, not too in-depth on one specific thing. If you want to know more about something in particular, let me know. Before I get too far into this video, I want to thank two people, Rhett Scholl and my friend Robbie Lattimore. They're both really amazing musicians and really have great tone. And I talked to both of them about some of the ideas that I'm going to talk about in this video. And I just wanted to say thanks to those guys for taking the time to help me. So here we go. So for Noah's music, we have a combination of country music, more old school country, singer-songwriter, acoustic vibes. There's some soul, like old school soul influences, and American rock. A little bit of everything, but it's all kind of an old school palette. I'm going to try and make a small, simple, reliable pedal board. The goals are nice, tidy, clean build, reliable sound, and an exciting sound, an inspiring sound, a sound that I like to hear and that is hopefully inspiring for my bandmates. As you can see, we have some options with our pedals. I don't have a ton of pedals. I'm not a huge gear guy. To me, I just see all this stuff as tools to make art. I don't get too excited about the tools, but they are important. So we're going to talk about our options. So right off the bat, I know we're going to need this tuner. And then I really like this DI. This is the JDI radial direct box. It's passive. It has a Jensen transformer in it, which is the same thing that's in the old Neve consoles. It sounds really good when you break it up a little bit. My good friend Robbie told me about this DI, and I've been a fan of it for a few years. It's pretty much bomb-proof, and it just sounds good. It's reliable. You can put keyboards through it, guitars through it, whatever you put through it, it's going to sound good. And if you push it hard, it's going to sound even better. So I think these two are for sure going to go on there. Another one that's going to make the cut is going to be this Zuma. Excuse the Velcro here, but it's a power conditioner made by Strymon. So this is just like nice, clean, consistent power. So right now, these three are for sure going to go on the board. So now we're getting into some more creative options. These are all things that are going to actually color the tone a little bit more. There's this Ampeg SCR-DI. It's a direct box, so it can do the same thing as the radial, but it also has what they call the scrambler, which is a drive option to give us a little more saturation. It's a grittier sound that we could activate if we wanted to. It's got an EQ, it's got a overdrive, and it's a direct box. So this is kind of a Swiss Army knife. It could do a few things. We also have the compadre. So this is kind of a cool pedal because it could function as compression and as sort of saturation. We also have the germanium boost made by Ren and Cuff. It's called the Fat. It's actually called that. It's with PH, so it's not a swear word. This is a great pedal. This is a pedal that Sean Hurley told me about, and it's just a nice, reliable, exciting boost sound. And then we have these two Ampeg pedals. We've got a chorus, and we've got a compressor. So as much as I love chorus, I don't think we're going to need this for this gig. So now the decision is which one or ones of these are going to use. At the end of the day, we just have to decide what's going to sound best for this gig and what combination and what order to put them in. I've been tinkering a ton upstairs. Been putting all these pedals in different orders, different combinations, and I think I have it figured out. Tuner into the germanium boost, then we're going to compress it just a little bit, and then we're going to hit the radial hard. So now I want to try and figure out a way that I can package all of these tidily together in a way that is reliable and clean and inexpensive. I don't actually have a small pedal board. I sold mine years ago and I haven't used one in a while. And I have some scrap lumber sitting around, so I'm just going to see if I can make one. Here's some plywood, nice clean pine, and I'm going to see if I can get all of these pedals tidily on this board. I got some rubber feet and some screws so that we can set this board on the ground and it can be elevated and sturdy. I also got some industrial Velcro. It holds up to 10 pounds. I don't want to go too much more than this in the strength, because then the bond of the Velcro is going to be stronger than the adhesive that is going to stick to the pedals. So then we're just going to peel all the Velcro off the pedal. So I like this. 10 pounds is nice. So I got a bunch of this, and I'm going to try and put it together. So I tried laying this out a bunch of different ways, and I think this is going to be the sturdiest and the most reliable. So we got the tuner and the boost on top of this power here. I'm running power down through the board. I drilled some holes, and I put rubber feet on the bottom to elevate it, so the cables are going in and out of the bottom here, going then into the compressor and the direct box. I tried to leave a little space on the side so that the cables aren't really hanging off. I think I'm gonna go with Mustang bass. That's just more comfortable for me to play because of my hand injury. And I really like the way it sounds. I kind of fell in love with that instrument after I hurt my hand. It has a lot of clarity, has a lot of sustained, it has a lot of low end. I think it's just a powerful bass tool. You can see there's the Mustang. I'm doing some wiring work on it. I'm going to change the pickup height. I need to go pick up a screw to make that happen. So this is a work in progress. But this is the JMJ Mustang bass. I love this thing. This is what I call Little Fish. I've been having this issue where the screws that are supposed to go through the pickups, they don't want to thread. So the diameter of this screw is too small for what it's supposed to thread through. And then this all is supposed to sit inside of this this pick guard, and that's how you can adjust your pickup height and your angle. But because those screws don't have the same thread size as the pickups themselves, I need to figure something out. So I think I'm going to go to the hardware store and see if I can find some machine screws that'll work for me. So I just want to give a quick shout out to Ace Hardware. I was able to go over there, and a sales associate was able to help me find exactly what I needed, which is this little screw here. And now we're back in business, so I can reassemble the Mustang bass and we can test all this out. So we have the bass all back together. Before I put the strings back on and start setting the pickup height, I want to try something I've been thinking about doing for a while. The neck is really glossy. I'm going to take some really fine sandpaper and just really lightly rub the lacquer on the neck. I'm going to start with 800 because I don't want to overdo it and cut into the wood too much. So I'm going to see how that goes. I think I'm going to stop there for now. It's not a huge difference. If I described it, it's like, to the feel, it just seems less sticky. It's still super smooth. It's still got a good bit of that finish on there. It's just a little layer was taken off and gave it a little bit of grit. It's my first impression is I like the difference. I mean, we'll see how it feels when I'm actually playing music with it. This is an example of the kind of stuff that I don't think there's a right or wrong. It's all preference. You don't have to do this. I don't have to do this. It's whatever feels the best for the musician. I'm on a quest to find the best feeling and sounding setup for me. So I'm trying some different things. It might work, it might not, but I think it's a step in the right direction. So it's starting to come together. And next step, I think, is we're going to go upstairs. I'm going to audition a few different types of strings, and then we'll fine tune the pickup height and see how this neck feels. With bass tone, I think it's not a lot of things. I think it's a few simple things that you really know, and really taking the time to dial them in at the right ratios. Then when it all comes together, it's going to be delicious. Okay, so now that I'm getting this thing together, I just plugged it in and played it for the first time. Having the pickups higher has really increased the output. I didn't realize quite how much. So I'm changing all of my gain staging from what it was previously. I feel like this is an example of how every little thing that you do affects something else. It all is a sequence of events that's occurring, and every little setting can have a hyper effect on everything else. So it's an example of like $1 is totally changing my sound in a positive way. Here's the current situation. This is a bass line from one of the songs I'll be playing, which is called That's All by Noah Guthrie. So I'm liking that. I think that sounds cool. The compressor is only kicking on when I dig in a little harder. I don't want it to do a lot. I just want it to help with some of the minor inconsistencies I may make, or if I'm intentionally digging in, it'll help tame things and keep them smooth. Another thing the compressor is really helpful with is if you have some nice big whole notes that last a long time. For example, if I kick that compressor off and do the same thing, as opposed to, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do as a bass player is play a whole note. And if your whole note is just rock solid and lasts consistently throughout a whole measure, that's a powerful thing. So just a little bit of a compression can go a long way with that kind of thing. And I've got the germanium boost at about 3/4. It's got a nice, you can hear when I dig in, it breaks up a little bit, but when I play like a nice low note, it's not too overpowering. So I like this. The way I'm intentionally setting these settings on that boost and on that compressor is I probably just leave them on, both of them on the whole time. Something that I'm not going to be clicking them on and off all the time. It's just kind of something that's giving me a little more beef in the bass throughout in a subtle way. That's the current setup with flat wounds, with the pickups a little bit higher, with the new gain staging, with the new board. However, I do want to try it with tape wounds to see what it sounds like. But here's the tape wound string up close. You see the wrap? It's like a layer of nylon wrapped, like a ribbon wrapped around the core. And if you run your fingers on it, it's kind of like a smooth, almost plasticky feel. I like the sound. I'm not sure if I like the feel. The tape wounds are super easy on the fingers. So imagine like playing a string that has like a rubbery, plasticky coating on it that's like a lower tension. But I don't think it's the sound for this gig. And I'm glad I tried it, but I think I'm going to go back to the flats. And I think that's an example of you just try it and see what works. And now I know. Taking the 800 grit sandpaper and just taking a tiny layer off of this neck totally changes the way it plays. And I dig it, by the way. I'm glad I did it. I don't regret it. It's just an example of a little tweak going a long way towards how it feels for me, which determines how I play, which determines how it sounds. I had a lot of fun making this video for you. It would really mean a lot to me if you'd tell me some things. Tell me what you liked and what you didn't like about this video, honestly. And you can tell me if you disagree with anything I said. That's great too. I would be curious, if you were going to add one pedal to this simple pedal board setup, what would you add? Do you think I made the right call with the order? And also let me know what you want to talk about, because I had a lot of fun making this video. And I could see talking about bass stuff. I could see talking about arrangement and music stuff, which I'm really passionate about. I could also see just talking about sound in general. I love sound, and I love how it affects us. I love how it can help tell stories, and how we all have an emotional response. Here's a little fish ready to go for the tour, and here's a little pedal board. Thanks for hanging out. I hope that we can hang out again soon.